Today, I'm going to show you how to get 200 grams of protein with only 2,000 calories. And we're also going to be getting 70 grams of fiber in. My name is Jacob Ziemer, and I've helped thousands of people get in the best shape of their life. Real people with real careers that wanted real results. And today, I'm going to show you how to get 200 grams of protein while keeping your calories down. Because many people struggle to hit their protein goal each and every single day. And they especially struggle to hit their protein goal while keeping their calories down. And from everything that we're learning about fiber, how satiating it is, how it helps you adhere to your diet better, and all the health benefits, the more fiber you can tolerate in your diet, the better. So if you're struggling to accomplish those things on your diet, this is the video for you. This diet I would recommend for people between 200 and 240 pounds who are looking to lose weight, depending on how steep a caloric deficit they want to be in. It'll also be a great video if you've just lost a lot of weight and now you weigh somewhere between 160 and 200 pounds and you want to maintain your present body weight after losing all of that fat. So tune in. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get 200 grams of protein, 2,000 calories, and 70 grams of fiber. Starting with breakfast. Many people struggle to get enough protein in their breakfast, and it sets them up for failure with the rest of their day. In order to hit your protein goal, you must start off strong. For my clients, I recommend they get at least 0.8 times their body weight in grams of protein a day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, at a minimum, you should be having 160 grams of protein a day. That is the floor. You can always have more protein, but you should not be having less than that amount of protein. So starting off with breakfast, I love Greek yogurt. There's just Chobani zero sugar Greek yogurt. There is no sugar in it whatsoever, not even from the lactose, which is going to drop down the calories. It also has 0 grams of fat, which is also going to drop down the calories. We're looking at 70 calories, 13 grams of protein. I have a protein test which evaluates how efficient a protein is at helping you hit your protein goal. So in this case, we're going to take the grams of protein, which are 13. We're going to add a 0 to it. Does it have 130 calories or less? This has 70 calories, therefore it passes our protein test. We are going to be having 4 servings of this. 3 cups of Greek yogurt. Along with it, I'm going to have 150 grams of raspberries and 150 grams of blueberries. And the reason that I'm having the raspberries is raspberries are incredibly high in fiber. Raspberries, blackberries in particular, very, very rich in fiber, and I just prefer the taste of raspberries. And then I'm going to have 150 grams of blueberries, or the equivalent of 1 cup, because blueberries are incredible for cognitive health. They are rich in an antioxidant known as anthocyanin. So this is my go-to breakfast because 3 servings of this Greek yogurt, it's what I consider a high volume food, meaning it's a lot of food for very little calories. It's also a lot of protein for that amount of calories. And then the raspberries, very rich in fiber. We're starting our day off strong. We're going to easily hit those 200 grams of protein and those 70 grams of fiber.
My name's Jacob Ziemer. I'm going to take 45 seconds to tell you about my coaching program. I've helped thousands of people with real lives lose real weight. You can go to jacobziemer.com to learn more. There are 4 major tenets of my coaching program. The first is that we give you macros. It's calories, protein, and fiber. That's all we're concerned about, along with custom meal templates. We also are going to build you a custom program on my app. My app includes over 1,000 videos. So regardless what space you have or what goals you have, my app can help you train better. We also are going to create a cardiovascular program for you on the app as well, along with step goals. And fourth, you're going to go see your doctor, you're going to get your labs done, and we're going to walk you through the proper preventative health based on your family history. This is my coaching program that's helped thousands of people get in the best shape of their life.
For lunch, we're going to be having a high protein, high fiber sandwich with some veggies. The foundation of our meal is going to be ground meat. Any ground meat will do as long as it's 94.6 or greater. The 94 refers to the lean meat. The denominator, the 6, refers to the fattiness of the meat. So anything that's 94.6 or greater, 95.5, 96.4, these are all a great option because they're lean sources of protein, which are going to have less saturated fat. And we want to reduce saturated fat when we're eating a lot of animal protein. And they're also going to have less calories while being high in protein. When we look at the nutrition label, in this case, I have ground venison. I've got 8 grams of fat per serving and 4 grams of saturated fat. In order to be a lean protein source, it has to have 10 grams total fat or less, 4 grams saturated fat or less per serving. So this is just on the cusp of being a lean protein. For 112 grams, it's 180 calories, 25 grams of protein. We're gonna have a little bit more of that. We're gonna have closer to a 5-ounce serving or closer to 140 grams. And then we're gonna have it on some high fiber bread that also has protein. I like Royo because the macros on this are absolutely stunning. 30 calories, 3 grams of protein. This bread actually passes our protein test, and 11 grams of fiber per slice. But then on top of it, I'm gonna throw some broccoli in because broccoli, again, very rich in fiber, but also rich in micronutrients, including antioxidants like sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is very important at fighting certain types of cancer, especially those that are common with high protein diets that are also high in saturated fat or certain red meat sources like venison. And to make my sandwich a little bit more delicious, we're gonna use a condiment. We're gonna use no sugar added ketchup. This has 10 calories per tablespoon. I'm gonna use a couple tablespoons of this. Mustard is also really great. It's very low in calories. When it comes to condiments, I recommend that they have 30 calories or less per tablespoon in order to be a macro-friendly condiment. Third meal of the day, I like to have this in the afternoon so that when I get home, I'm not mindlessly picking before dinner. I find a lot of people, they have lunch and they have nothing to eat before dinner and they walk through the door and they're ravenous. They're just so hungry. We're gonna be having pre-cooked chicken with an individual packet of avocado, and then we're gonna have black beans along with it. And the reason that I like this meal is it's incredibly convenient. You could prep this at work, or you just pull it out of your kitchen, heat it up. It's good to go very quickly. I have this Southwestern style chicken. You could also buy pulled chicken. Just make sure that the pre-cooked chicken you're buying is not rubbery and that it also passes our protein test and is a lean source of protein. The reason I like this individual packet of guacamole is because guacamole is very caloric. However, it's also rich in fiber and a fat known as monounsaturated, which is great for cognitive and heart health. That's why we're having avocado, because it's so good for our heart health and it's high in fiber. But the individual package allows us to keep the calories down and know the exact portion that we're having. Black beans to go along with all this because this is incredibly high in fiber. We're keeping our calories low again. We're getting a lot of protein, a lot of fiber for our afternoon snack. For dinner, we're gonna be having shrimp pasta, but it's a macro-friendly alternative to your traditional pasta. We're gonna be having 7 ounces of shrimp, rich in omega-3s. The fats are coming from polyunsaturated fat. It passes our protein test. And then we're going to be having it with goodles, which is a high protein, high fiber pasta. I'm gonna weigh this out dry, 2.5 ounces, cook it up, add my shrimp to it. If you do not have access to or do not like the taste of goodles, Brahmi is another brand with very similar macros, but I like both of these pastas. They're a high protein, high fiber alternative to traditional pasta that tastes a lot like actual pasta. Once this is all cooked up and plated, I'm gonna put some olive oil, 1.5 tablespoons on it because this is rich in monounsaturated fat. So between the monounsaturated fat from the olive oil, the polyunsaturated fat from the shrimp, and then the fiber from the pasta, this is a very filling way to end your day. If you're not interested in having a high fiber pasta for dinner, you can never go wrong with potatoes. I frequently incorporate potatoes for dinner because they are a high volume food that is rich in minerals and rich in fiber. With all of these meals, you should be using your food scale. I tell my clients all the time, you're not gonna have to use a food scale for the rest of your life, but using a food scale is going to really help you dial in your portion sizes. And then my before bedtime snack, my sweet treat, I'm gonna have a pro-feel pudding. This is 130 calories, 17 grams of protein. This is a lean protein source, and it's just something that I find really fulfills my sweet tooth. Sometimes I have Yasso bars, sometimes I have dark chocolate. I make sure that I incorporate something that's going to allow me to go to bed feeling satisfied. And that is it for my day. We are a little under 2,000 calories, about 210 grams of protein. We actually exceeded our 200 gram protein goal. And then I'm having over 70 grams of fiber by following these recommendations. A lot of these meals I simply eat on repeat. It's good to have template meals that you incorporate into your diet, things that you kind of have a go-to option you don't have to think about. I have helped thousands of people get in the best shape of their life using what I call flexible flexible dieting. It means 80% of the food you should be eating should be single ingredient foods like the salmon, like the berries, like the venison, and the other 20% should be things like Profil or the high fiber bread and pasta that we had today, things that help us hit our macros or that we actually enjoy and make dieting sustainable, because you're not a robot. You're going to want to enjoy a slice of pizza with your kids. You're going to want to go out to dinner with friends, and flexible dieting allows you to do that because you simply think about your calories like a budget. You can go to jacobzimmer.com to learn more about my coaching services. I put out long format content each and every single week here on YouTube. And I also put out short format content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like what you saw today, hit subscribe.